Got a stand of a couple birch trees here. And if I look up, there is some chaga. So, chaga grows in northern climates, pretty much anywhere where there's going to be birch trees, but they like the cold, so the colder the better. And that's what it looks like there. So it looks like a charred burl coming off of the tree. And supposed to be really good kindling if you need to start a fire, but mainly it's used for tea. I really enjoy the flavor of it. But to find it, you go out and you find birch trees. And it's not super common, so you might have to look for a while, but generally, once you do find it, there's more in the area. But you gotta wander around the woods, find birch trees, get up close to them, and look and see if you can find any. Because, yeah, it's just black on birch, which a lot of birches have spots on them, so they're kind of camouflaged, so you gotta get close. It's hard to spot chaga from a distance. But if you like getting out in the woods in winter, snowshoe and hike and all that, it's a fun activity, and get to have some tea out of it when you're done. Okay, now here's some chaga, and it's real low, and as we saw, the last one was high. Some people will even bring ropes to climb trees to get chaga, but I usually get whatever I can climb easily or is low. This one's pretty small, but generally where damage has occurred to a birch tree, the spores will get in there, and then that's where chaga will sprout. And so I'm going to saw a little piece of this off, and then you usually want to do this in winter because it's less damaging to the tree. And chaga is technically a parasite, like a parasitic mushroom. Eventually it will kill a birch tree, but it takes a very, very long time. Again, they grow in cold climates where it's, snow half the year, so they grow very slowly. But they do grow back, so if they cut it even with the tree, it could come back in a couple of years and there'd be more chaga sprouting out of there. But just a look, and this is a small tree, but it still has a little bit of chaga on it. But let's see if I can set the camera down and show you getting it. This is just a small piece of chaga, so I'm just going to saw it. Saw is usually most convenient. It's easier to get a clean cut. Some people use like an axe or hatchet. But this is, a pretty small piece, but don't need to have a ton either. And so cutting it pretty even with the tree, so this will start to grow back, and then, not sure how well you can see, but it's got this dull orange interior. So black, kind of charred looking on the outside, this real dull orange earth color is what's on the inside, and then you chunk it up, and some people will grind it, but you need a pretty hardy grinder, better than a coffee grinder, if you're going to do that. Usually I just chunk it up and put it in the crock pot overnight as my preferred method. So I usually, put the crock pot on low, throw it in there before I go to bed, and it'll be ready in the morning. That's how I like to do it, but various and assorted methods. But fun to collect, gives you something to do in winter, and make some delicious tea. Okay, so brought the chaga home, got it cut into chunks, and it's about a fistful. And so I'm just going to take that and put it in the crock pot and fill it about halfway full of water and leave it on overnight, and it'll be ready in the morning. Alright, so I let the chaga go in the crock pot overnight, so now it's ready. And what I usually do is strain it through the coffee maker. Got a nice reusable filter. The standard filter should work. Just makes it easier to strain out and then pour into whatever container you're going to use. If you're wondering why not just do it in the coffee pot, it's because you need to steep it for a very long time. If you just ran it through the coffee pot, there wouldn't be any flavor to it. But just easier way, but you can use a coffee filter, cheesecloth, whatever you want to strain, but this just is the easiest method that I've found. And then it's going to be nice and dark. It's generally darker than your average coffee by the time you're done with it, but it's to personal preference. So some people it'll be barely see-through. When I do it, I mean, you can't see through the other side of the glass. So just whatever amount of flavor you want is how long you steep it for. So obviously just taste it and let it go longer if you want. If it ever gets to be too much, you can always water it down a little bit. And then once you have it in a container, you can leave it out room temperature for up to 2 weeks. Okay, so here's what I ended up with. So, 1.5 liter bottle and a pint mug, and you can see how just dark that is. And so that's how it should end up. I like it pretty flavorful though. If you don't like it quite as flavorful, just test it as it's steeping. Stop at whatever level you like, and so it might be a little bit lighter than that. And then this is the used chaga, which the nice thing about chaga is, here I have some that's been twice used, and so you can use chaga about 3 or 4 different times. You just have to steep it maybe a little bit longer each time you use it, but you get multiple uses out of it, so it doesn't take a lot to last you quite a while. And then after I use it, I put it in a bag and I just put it in the freezer until the next time I use it. Otherwise, this is some stuff I got previously that has not been used yet, and you can dry it, or again, you can store it in the freezer. That's how you make chaga tea.